Yeah. So let's see. We'll finish this one up. I don't think we have like 6 minutes left in this thing,
Right.
which could take us about 5 hours to get through. Actually,
It could. It could. It's crazy. It's ridiculous, actually. So,
but I just want to say I appreciate all the feedback we've gotten so far. We've got a lot of comments back to all the viewers. We've got people answering questions based on what's in the webpage and some of the questions we're asking. So really appreciate that. Again, go to the website and look at the Vegas page, and there's all kinds of timeline, omitted names, things like that. So if you can answer those, more the better, right? Thousand or more people to investigate is better than the two of us. So perfect. So I think we left off at the last room, right? So Jesus says negative at that point. Since I was shot, I was too afraid to pop my head out.
right. That's when the police officer asked him if he saw where it was coming from.
Right.
And really, even on the video that you posted to that last one of the last two videos we did just yesterday, you can hear him say, "I think I got hit by a pellet to the police officer or a BB." Those rotten little kids.
Damn, Nanny.
So yeah, that's where we left off. So what? I think we're at it. What's the next sentence to go to?
Yeah. So let's see. So when the cop asked him, "Did you look and see where the bullets were coming from?" And he says, "No, I was too scared to even pop my head out."
Right.
Although, by the way, Shuck's statement says he popped his head out. But hey, we'll get to Shuck's statement later on. Again, no mention of Shuck in this entire sworn statement.
No, nothing.
So anyway, so then he says, "Yeah, but I knew it was the last room. And that was where the shots were coming from." Okay?
Right.
The detective, his question then is, and then, so you're there, you're already in communication with dispatch. You've got help on the way, and you have dispatch or somebody, number 18 is blocked out. You have number 18, and what was ... And the answer was, he gave a name, which is blacked out, which is number 19. And then the question goes to number, which I call omitted number 29. So all three are armed security. So what he's referring to, I believe, is his manager in the two bike units. Remember before, he's like, "Hey, my manager's up there and the two bike units are up there." Right? I don't know if the bike units are armed, though.
Why are it's very odd. So say that again, because you kind of lost me a second.
Hey, have you ever pedaled a bike with a gun on your hip?
No, but I'm very surprised that. First of all, what you just said with the questioning again is leading. It's telling him what he's going to, where he's at. It's telling him what he just did. All he's asking for is confirmation. It's leading. It's not an interview.
Right.
It's not any kind of an interview. He actually is telling Jesus what he's doing. And Jesus is saying, correct, in that moment. It absolutely makes no sense at all.
No. So the question is, so he said, the question is, so and then You know, so I mean, let's go back to the actual answer that Jesus says. He says, but
Right.
I didn't look down the room, see where the shooting was coming from, but I knew the last room was where the shots were coming from. And the next question is, and then, so you're there, you're already in communication with dispatch. You've got help on the way, and you have number 18 and what was. And the answer, and Jesus answers for him, number 19. And the questioner says, and number 29, and all three are armed security.
And he ends that sentence with all three are armed security.
The question, yes.
Or who says that?
The detective.
Again.
Right.
Because it could be the nanny and two kids. There's three people.
There's armed security. So
he's leading.
Yeah, and you know what Jesus says when he asks that leading question?
What?
Yes.
Yeah. No kidding. It's just, you start doing that in the interview, and a detective's going to go, no, whoa, listen. And okay, now where were you? And then what did you do?
Yeah.
That kind of question. He didn't say, and then you did this. Yes. Come on,
man.
Come on, man.
So Jesus says,
man.
Yes.
Of course he does.
Two of those guys are outside units, number 19 and number 29, and the shift manager, number 18. So he confirms who those three people are. So he basically has said now that the two outside units, well, he didn't say it, but he agreed to what the detective asked him.
Right.
The two outside units and the shift manager are all three armed. Right? That's what the question said. And he said yes.
Yeah.
Which, according to the videos, doesn't show them having a weapon. I mean, I tell you, I don't know what the outside unit is. I'm assuming it's the bite guys, having watched the videos. But I don't know. I didn't see any weapons on them. But so anyway, no assumptions. We just know they're the outside units.
Right.
All right. So the question is, so they arrive there, and they're at the center core.
This is now who's saying this?
This is the detective.
Okay, I'm just clarifying it.
Sure. Yeah. He says so. They arrive there, and they're at the center core. While you're pinned down, you're hearing continuous fire. So that statement basically says he's pinned down.
Right.
He's hearing continuous fire. And all three of those other people, the two outside units and the shift manager, are in the center core. That's what the detective asks them.
Or tells him, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really an ask. It's
wow.
Right. So the question is, so they are there and they're at the center core. While you're pinned down, you're hearing continuous fire.
Now, we got to think about. Now, it's crazy because these sentences are sentences.
Yeah.
They're not questions. He's not asking Jesus a question.
Right.
It's not, so did you, or there were, and I could just see him doing this. There were three guys at the end of the hall when you were pinned down. The only thing he's leaving out is correct. Which it doesn't make any sense because that sentence should probably be before the previous one.
Yeah,
So
I would say what's interesting about the questioning when we dissect it like this is it's almost as if, and you hate to say it, but it's almost as if the questions are purposely presented to Jesus in a manner in which none of his answers are so incorrect because of the leading questions and bad questioning that
right.
nothing can be held up in court against.
No, it's almost purposely. If that's a real law enforcement officer, it's got to be purposely done this way, so it's thrown out.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Right.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because any guy out of rookie school is probably going to understand that not to do leading questions. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And not to question anybody on the floor a few doors down from this mass shooting 2 days later. Okay, just saying. All right.
Okay.
With a union president that we don't know what, with a
No.
union rep,
Right.
supposedly union rep, it could be the nanny for all we know, because there's no name attached to it. Okay, but go ahead. I'm just saying.
By the way, I do know that I don't know the nanny's name, but it wasn't a nanny, and I know the person registered. It was an aunt to the person registered in that room, and I know the person's name. So thank you to the participants out there who provided me that information.
Yes, that was great.
And we'll get to that one shortly.
Is she part of the union?
I haven't seen her sworn statement.
Oh, okay. It must be in the contract. No sworn statements. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, honestly, because it's sad, but it's funny. But because you have the union rep, not a president even, the union rep of the Mandalay Bay is incognito, but the law enforcement officer tells his name. I mean, think about that, really. I mean, that's kind of crazy when you think about it. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No, we'll leave you. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
All right.
Next sentence.
Well, the next is what is Jesus' answer to that question?
Yes.
Okay, it's correct. Yes, you're correct. You won the award.
All right. Why wouldn't it be?
Hey, Jesus.
Because the police officer and the union rep,
correct.
He's got two people looking at him in that room doing this. Yeah. He's got two people doing this the whole time.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
All right, so the next question is,
and he's like, yeah. Okay, no, next sentence.
The next question is, and you were unsure. This is a question.
Again, and you were.
Yeah, this is a question. And you were unsure if it was still coming down the hallway at you or if he was directing it outside. You want to answer for Jesus?
Yes.
Well, correct is what he said.
So
we're just going to have you answer for Jesus from this point on.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's crazy.
No matter what I ask you, just say correct.
Correct. At that moment. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead. It's really mind-boggling. This is purposely done like that. It has to be, in my opinion. So.
Okay.
Go ahead, man.
So here's the next question. About how long did the gunfire go on for?
That's one of the first questions he's asked the whole time.
Yeah. So Jesus' answer, and this is a good answer, all right? I mean, it's a lengthy answer, so I'm going to read the whole thing, all right? So you got it? I may have to repeat it a couple times.
Yeah, you probably will for me.
Yeah. I have to read slow.
I listen slower, too. Go ahead.
Jesus's answer
Go ahead.
is this. So the question, let's go back to the question. The question is, about how long did the gunfire go on for? Jesus's reply, to be completely honest, at that moment in time, the adrenaline, it seemed for a long period of time. I cannot state how long it was. However, I can guarantee that it was at least a full magazine. I don't know how many rounds it carries, but it was a full magazine. End of answer.
So the other day, I'm just saying this out. Okay, so the other day, I went to Walmart and I looked at their pellet and BB guns.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had a varmint that I needed to get rid of.
Did
and
you
I was
really?
like, okay, shotgun's a little. Yes, my bird was killing me. It keep me on.
You trying to shoot your dog?
Yes, I scared it. No, I was trying to shoot a mockingbird, but I didn't buy anything.
Well, your little
I was
dog
throwing rocks at it.
little rodent, so I figured you were trying to shoot it.
No, some bird is keeping me up at night. Oh my God, they're loud. Anyway, it kept saying, "No, I don't want to have sex. No, I don't want to have sex."
Oh, good one.
Stop. Okay.
You're gonna
Anyway.
shoot it with a
That's
pellet gun.
crazy, dude. So anyway, I gotta do it. So I'm just saying. Let's back up where he says the magazines. It was full. Okay.
It was a
Have you ever
full
seen
magazine?
Have you ever seen one of those BB magazines? And those pellet ones, they're about that big.
I've never seen it.
Oh, they're about that big.
Yeah, I can't see it. You got your video.
Oh
on.
man.
I know, right? There you go.
Somebody was calling me.
Oh,
They're about that big.
like Jesus. Somebody's calling you in the middle of our conversation.
Yeah. Now their magazines on those pellets, are a little about like that,
Yeah.
So anyway,
Should be used to that.
it could be around. Yeah, it could be around that. His magazine.
Oh yeah.
That's not even that's a terrible answer and bad follow-up.
Well, okay. Let's just go back, right? To be completely honest.
God.
At that moment in time,
Yes.
the adrenaline seemed for a long period of time. I mean, the guy doesn't speak in complete sentences, right? So you patches together. Then he says, I cannot state how long it was. However, so what he's talking about is he can't tell us how long the gunfire went on for.
Right.
Okay? He can't tell us how long the gunfire was going on for. However, what he can tell us, and he can actually guarantee this is the only time he's ever used the word guarantee.
Yeah.
Okay. So what he says is, I can guarantee that it was at least a full magazine.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many rounds it carries. So, time out. All right. What's your reference point for a full magazine? Because if you don't know how many, I mean,
he's talking about, he mentioned a BB gun and a pellet.
Pellet gun and a 22.
He did not say that it was
an
AK-47 or whatever, and it went through he got hit in the middle of the calf. It should have went all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a pellet or a 22 or the I don't know. I don't know if it's a pellet or a 22 or.
It's,
Yeah.
well, anyway.
No. After, exactly, man. After all the firing and everything's done, he's in the hallway there, and he says it's a pellet or a BB gun, or base pellet or 22.
Moments after it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Moments after that.
So
he's telling the police.
Yeah. And this is what, 2 days later, I think?
Yeah, and this one's 2 days later.
And he goes, look, I can guarantee that it's at least a full magazine.
So what's the next sentence?
However, I don't know how many rounds are in a magazine. But it was a full magazine.
Yeah.
I will tell you, though, again, like I was talking before, is the language he uses, I mean, literally, in my mind, is language that somebody who was in that room would
Right.
use. Okay?
Right.
So
that's why the other person's probably not listed.
yeah.
But
Question.
answer. Go ahead.
Okay, you get to answer the next 3 questions.
Okay.
So it's going on for a while. You're wounded. It's like, there I was. There you were.
Again, he's telling him what he was doing and where he was. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going on for a while. You're wounded. Your guys can't get to you. I think I've seen this in a movie once.
Yeah, Ellen.
Yeah. So you're going on for a while. You're wounded. Your guys can't get to you because there's the long hallway. Answer.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
Question. And so at some point in time, you decide, do you think that he's no longer firing down the hallway? He's focusing all of his attention outside? Well, here's a problem. Well, go ahead and answer it.
Correct.
No, it's yes. Well, here's the problem. The cop, right, the detective, has just not only this question, but a question or two before, he's mentioned this outside thing twice now.
Jesus he don't even know what's happening outside.
He has no idea, man.
No.
He was checking doors. He got hit by
He hasn't been over the dispatch or anything.
No.
He hasn't heard anything. The police officer's telling him it was going outside.
Yes. So he's like, at this point in time, you decide, you think that he is no longer firing down the hallway. He's focusing all of his attention outside. Jesus, yes. Okay. Question.
How stupid. That is terrible. It's terrible.
Question. And when you believe his attention is focused outside, is when you make a break for it and run to the center core. What's your answer?
Correct.
Ding!
Oh, brother.
So we've interpreted you make a break for it, meaning breached. I'm going to have to look at Webster's to see if it's in there, because I don't think that's the definition of breach.
It's not the definition.
I have a feeling that maybe the script was smudged, and he thought make a break for it was supposed to be make a breach for it.
Could have been. I mean, seriously, you're probably right.
Breached, so.
Yeah.
All right, so next question.
Okay.
And you get to answer them. All right.
You keep saying question, but these are statements.
Yes.
These are yes or no questions is what they are. Or not really a question. They're a statement.
Questions.
And
Right.
he's just he's just waiting for an answer to a statement, a confirmation. So
So
okay,
he says,
go ahead.
when you get to the center core, You meet up with your guys, and that's when 4 of our guys are also coming to the center core.
Correct.
Meaning, yeah, good. How did you guess that? Man, you're good.
So the video, though, that you had in the last episode,
yep,
there was, how many guys were there?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I can show it again.
Yeah, I think we need to show that again because I don't know how many were there and how many looked like, you know, security guard bicyclists, and how many looked like the PD.
Well, man, you know what? He's standing there. I mean, there's a ton of people walking in. I mean, you know, we're looking at the video. Basically the same amount of time he's there with all the people, right? Because they're body cams.
Right.
And I can't tell you specifically how many. He can. Right. Dude's got a great memory.
Yes, he does.
You know? I'm sitting there going, I don't know. Everybody's wearing a different uniform.
They are, aren't they?
Absolutely. I saw a guy in BDUs, man.
Yeah, yeah. They look like they were different uniforms.
So,
okay,
so for him being so specific, it's crazy. But
right.
Okay, so then he says, question. And did you speak to those officers or give them information? And Jesus doesn't say correct, right? He says slightly. I told them at the time, I believe that he was shooting through the peephole, which is you know, verified based on the video. However, later, at a later time, I found out what he actually, it's hard to read. However, later, at a later time, I found out what he actually had, a setup of the table and the camera. It doesn't make any sense when he answers these things.
Huh.
I mean, literally, the guy asks him, did you speak to the officers? And he goes all the way into the table and the camera conversation.
That's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
And as far as I know, no follow-up questions to that. And then
so he thought it was through the peephole, and
yeah.
It was verified that there was a peephole, but was it knocked out?
Well, I can show the doors.
There's multiple gunshots. Multiple bullet holes in the door. He shot out.
Yeah, show the door.
One of the people on the right-hand door as you're facing the room had a camera in it, but like I said before, and even the cart, nothing was recording evidently. So I have that somewhere.
Yeah, the guy. You know what? Jesus didn't even mention anything about the cart.
Mm-mm.
Not a word about the cart.
Man, I was gonna surprise you at the end on that.
Now, you can't surprise me with much, man. So
he didn't say the cart at all.
No, maybe he was rolling it down because he was eating leftovers on it and left it there as he ran to 129.
Dude, if I was on room and floor 30, let's say, and I walked up 2 flights of stairs, the door's locked, I go back down 1 flight of stairs, I go in the hallway, I walk all the way down, which it takes about a minute to walk all the way down, by the way.
Right.
Took the elevator up to 32, walked all the way down, didn't see the cart, by the way. Went in, saw that there was a bracket on the door.
Right.
Called dispatch. Nobody knows what's going on. I leave that area. I don't see the cart that's right in front of me. And I go down 32 and right in, I'd probably be hungry after all.
Right. Yeah, if there's any food, that food's gone. If that was room service, somebody got mad.
Somebody did. So he goes, you saw that? So he's talking about the cart, right? And the camera.
Right.
Says, the question is, so you saw that from the news? His answer is, I was told by multiple people. And the question is, okay, but at that time, you didn't notice it, or you didn't notice that.
Right.
Jesus, yes, I didn't notice that.
Okay.
Question, do you remember the cart being in the hallway? That's a good question. Answer, nope. I don't remember recalling any carts in the hallway.
Interesting.
Sworn statement recorded.
Ah, very interesting.
I mean, out of all the kind of strange questions there, and then on the video, I actually have the cart. You know, I mean, you can't miss the cart. Come on. However, when we start looking at Shuck's the only one that I've seen.
That's the engineer, right?
Yeah. We've got video of him in the elevator, and he's actually pushing his cart.
Does it have a tablecloth on it like the other one?
It doesn't.
Okay.
But later video showing him in the center core doesn't show him with his cart. So I'm not sure where he put his cart. I'm sure they didn't ask him either. But we'll get into it when we talk about his sworn statement. All right. So he has no idea. Never saw it. He's walked past this cart twice.
Exactly.
Never saw it.
Right.
Literally, the cart was right outside of the stairwell door. So not only did he walk past it, but he actually had to basically slow down, and he turned left into the stairwell door. The cart's on his right. And
right.
he comes out, and he's facing it.
Right.
As he turns right. Okay, so anyway. So he doesn't see it. And he tells us, nope, didn't see it.
Wow.
Actually, it's funny what he says. What he actually says here, I mean, think about the wording. This is why it's really interesting when you look at what he actually says, the words he uses. He said, the cop says, do you remember the cart being in the hallway? And he says, nope, which he's never used that word, by the way.
He's never used that word.
That's probably a common word for him.
Right.
But this statement is interesting. He goes, I don't remember recalling any carts in the hallway.
Right.
I mean, it's not that he says he doesn't remember a cart in the hallway. He says, I don't remember recalling a cart in the hallway.
Right.
Any cart in the hallway.
Yeah, that's
any
weird.
Carts, plural. But the two words that I was kind of stuck on is the word remember, recalling.
And recall, yeah.
I mean, I don't remember recalling. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that means you were memorizing something and you don't remember memorizing it.
Yep.
You know what that means? I don't remember my lines, which means I don't remember recalling. I don't remember rehearsing for this.
Right. Right.
But
so what's the next one?
Okay, so I don't know. It's just weird kind of stuff. Okay, so then the question is, and then, so you had a brief conversation with our officers, which is the Vegas PD. You relayed to them where the gunfire is coming from. Can you answer for him?
Correct.
You did it again.
I'm awesome, man.
Question.
Dude.
And they tell you, or your guys tell you, he blank, let you go downstairs. Right? So basically it says, and they tell you, or your guys tell you, he blank, number 24, because I don't know, it's blanked out, let you get you downstairs because you need medical attention. Can you answer for him?
Correct. Duh.
So my question is, who was that person who?
Right. They cleared him. They
Cleared-
cleared it and said, go. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because it's not stated anywhere. And it's not on any video that I've seen. And then the question is, and so you go down to the second floor, to the 200 wing. Okay. The answer is Jesus cuts him off and says lower level, which is the basement.
Right.
So he took the 200 wing, is what we're assuming here, and he went to the basement, I guess. Question. Okay, so lower level 200 wing, Jesus, correct.
Correct.
Do you guys have paramedics on site? Jesus, negative. They had contacted them, which I don't know who they, so he obviously spoke to somebody who he knows contacted them, because he wouldn't say they contacted them, right? I mean, we know somebody contacted them. They had contacted him, but under the command that we were under, I wasn't able to leave, or they weren't able to come in to attend to me. So I had to wait about an hour and a half before a SWAT medic actually looked at me.
Okay.
So we don't know where he's at. We're assuming he's in the basement at this point in time, right? And we're assuming that the command, which is the Mandalay Bay, refused paramedics to come in to treat him. That's not
right.
good. I mean, that's what he's saying.
It's kind of weird, but
It's his own words, right?
Okay.
Under the command we were under, I wasn't able to leave. They weren't able to come in to attend me. Maybe that's upstairs because the elevators didn't work. I mean, who knows? So I had to wait about an hour and a half before the SWAT medic actually looked at me. So the SWAT medic, I'm assuming, came to the 32nd floor and saw him. Who's the SWAT medic?
Yeah, but that's an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, you saw his leg. I mean, it's a pellet.
No. I'm just saying, I don't think he was upstairs for an hour and a half. Do you?
I don't know. There's no time.
I mean, think about it. And here's, again, how long has this happened? Okay, so he's walked back and forth, like you said, 30th back down, or 32nd back down, all across, back in, makes a phone call to friends and family, walks out, doesn't see the cart, doesn't close the door that he originally was in there for,
right,
and got shot by a BB gun in the back of the calf, pinned down.
Yep.
And used his cell phone to call somebody for help. How long did it take them to get up there? He made a break for it. He talks to them, okay? And he's waiting an hour and a half before, wherever he's at, he's waiting an hour and a half before the SWAT medic looks at him, okay? Yeah. I don't care where it's at, upstairs or in the lower level.
Yeah.
But we're talking at least 2 hours now.
Yeah.
From 10 o'clock, 2 hours. Hell, he's almost at a sworn maybe they took a sworn statement when the SWAT medic was looking at him. And he still hasn't mentioned anything about the shooting outside going on right now.
He hasn't. No.
Seriously.
Nope.
He hasn't mentioned a word radio traffic. Nobody's saying that there's been a mass shooting, from that room across the street, coming across his radio. He hasn't mentioned a word in his 2 hours. And remember, that's going to be, so it's at least took him a half hour or so just to get to see the breach, or to see that room up there where he made the phone call at on the 32nd floor. And then he gets pinned down, and however long it took people to go up there.
Right.
That's probably another 20 minutes. And then he runs for it. And then an hour and a half after that. And so we're almost at 3 hours. And he still doesn't know anything about this mass shooting.
Yep.
Think about that. That's some crazy stuff, man.
Oh, it is.
I mean, the guy never ever asked him. The police officer never asked him when he first heard that there was even did he know that there was even a shooting outside. The police officer is telling him there was a shooting outside.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the first thing that Jesus actually mentioned, remember, back outside.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't think did he mention it, or did the police officer say?
No, he said
a statement that he agreed to.
No, when he was about ready to breach, he thought that the gunman may have been shooting back outside. And we're like, how did you know he was already shooting outside?
He hadn't even confirmed that he even knew it.
Right.
He didn't say one time in either one of those statements that the dispatch said that there was a shooting outside.
No, the only thing that he had mentioned was he heard drill rapidly.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And then he got shot by a BB gun in his back of his leg.
His left.
In rapid fire. It just makes zero sense. 2 sworn statements, and yet to know anything about
nothing
that outside.
So here's another question. So did any of your people apply pressure or anything like, Jesus, we're first aid certified. So I did my best to wrap it. Keep pressure on it, or keep the pressure, the compression. Okay. At that time, I wasn't bleeding out as much, so it did stop the bleeding after I did apply the gauze and the wrap. You saw the video. I didn't see a gauze wrap or anything around his leg.
Or a wrapper on the floor.
Say again, Jesus. Hey, listen.
Downstairs, it has to be by the elevator. They're screaming.
We're running 2 minutes up here. That's some crazy guys. People down there. Go in your room. Down there. You get officers down the basement with some nutty guy that might not shut down. Let's get the shot. Brian, no traffic unless it's involved in stuff. Come on. Copy. Bam, get in the room.
159 SC. I need the radio, please. I'm on the 32nd floor. The room is going to be 135, right? Hey, stay with me. I'm trying to get on the radio. The room is barricaded. We can't get in. I'm trying to get on the radio. It's room 135.
No.
We can't get in. Listen, it's barricaded. Stop.
Yeah, barricaded, most likely, booby traps. Okay, we're not gonna make it.
What are you hearing it from? It sounds like there were two shooters. We were at the event. You were at there. There's two shooters. I saw gunshot fire coming out of this room.
Shooting outside, shooting out.
There's people gunshots coming out of this room.
So it's the very same, there's room 135 on the 32nd floor. I need the SWAT to respond to this floor. Subject to terror. We cannot make it.
And this is 32, right?
Yeah. He's tomorrow now. We're gonna need it bad.
We cannot advance. How close on? I got on the wall. How close up do you want to advance? Because I'm hearing. I need you to go to the elevator. The 32nd floor elevator. There's one of your security guards.
I mean, when you open gauze up, usually
Obviously,
you throw it down on the floor and you're because you're not worried about the wrapper,
right.
Know.
All right, so we don't know where that went to. And I'm assuming it wasn't while he was in the trapped, pinned down, or hiding in the hallway that he was, gauzing himself up and wrapping himself before he breached and ran out. So it had to be down there in the hallway, and it didn't look like it was bleeding. So anyway,
maybe he did it. Maybe if he went to the lower level, that's where he did it at. Because I wouldn't think he's carrying it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think he's carrying it. So maybe by the time he went to the lower level, maybe that's where he did it at. Or I don't know.
Hey man, if it was bleeding, you've got about 100 cops up there.
Right.
If they thought it was bleeding, they would have done something, right? They got tourniquets on them and stuff. So
they would have, if it was bad enough, they would have done that.
I mean, they probably looked at it and said, "What'd you get shot by?" He said, "Pellet," and they're like, "What?"
They did. He did tell him that.
Right.
I saw the video says he did say that BB or pellet.
Yeah.
Out of his own mouth, that's what he said.
Pellet or 22, right?
Right, pellet or 22. That's right.
So it gets even better, man. We're almost done with this one, his second one, but the cop says, "At what hospital did you end up going to?" Mm-hmm. He says, St. Rosa Siena. Okay, I don't know where that's at. I'll have to plot it, but I'm just going to tell
We
everyone
need to look at that and show a map of that.
that in the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Criminal Investigation Report, the final one, August 3rd, 2018, on page 80, it lists all the hospitals that people went to. The descriptions, injuries obtained, photographed, crime scene. Okay, the victims were transported to various hospitals. Blah, 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 blah. Desert Spring Hospital, Spring Valley Hospital, Valley Hospital, Sunrise Hospital, UMC Hospital. Come on. Did you hear St. Rosa Siena Hospital?
Oh my gosh.
The one guy that got shot no more than 100 feet from the door, and they don't have his hospital listed?
So find out where that's at. See how long it takes to actually get there during mayhem. Okay? Because there was no ambulance services. I mean, there was ambulances everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right, who took him there?
So the streets were blocked off and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a sworn statement at the hotel at 2:30 in the morning.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
he went to the hospital.
we've already counted. I mean, I think we've already accounted for about 2.5 to 3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and he still didn't even know there was a mass shooting out there. Okay. Okay. So we're talking 1 o'clock.
Right.
Okay. So I know every ER would be packed
Yes.
and crazy
Mm-hmm.
911 calls. I mean, we've seen the videos and everything. And this guy made a sworn statement at 2:30.
Yes.
Interesting to see where this hospital's at.
Right.
We need to show that. You need to get Google Maps or something to show that, and see what with a perfect world with no mayhem.
Yeah.
How long would it take? Because the streets are shut down.
I don't know how he got there.
Exactly.
He take his car? I don't know. I mean,
Did they ask him?
the dude left the crime scene. I mean,
Yeah, but did they?
Taken him? He just can't go.
He's just not going by himself.
He's like the eyewitness, man.
Exactly. They're not going to say, "Okay, see you later. Just be back by 2:30 because we're going to do a." We're going
Upstairs in room 124. Yeah.
Come on.
So it gets better, actually.
Oh my gosh, it can't get any better. It's crazy right now.
So he actually states this, and I had to go back and look at it to make sure I wrote it down right, and I did. So he actually says next, after telling us the hospital, he says, and I did conduct a Henderson voluntarily at that time.
I conducted a what?
I don't know. I had to go back because the recording, that's what it says. It says, and I conduct Henderson voluntarily at that time. I don't know. So the question, I don't know what that means, but it doesn't make any sense. So just one of those things that not followed up on.
Maybe did he conduct a statement at that time? Or maybe that's what it was.
I don't know. He says, the question says next is, okay, so Henderson sent out detectives or officers.
Okay.
And, yeah. So
okay.
Henderson is somebody, and I have to look and see if we got the sworn statement for Henderson. So the answer is no, they were already there. Question. And then as we were walking, this is a question. Okay. And then as we were walking over, so he was actually walking, what it sounds like is he was actually walking over to the interview room with Campos. Okay.
This interviewer.
Yes.
Because this is him saying this.
Right. This is the interviewer saying this.
That you and I.
So he is not in the room while Campos walks in the room. He's walking to the room, evidently, with Campos.
With Campos.
Okay. Because he says this. And what he says is, question. And then, as we were walking over, you told me that you still have like fragments in your leg. So, for one, they were actually walking together before this statement was taken.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the other problem is he said, yeah, you still have fragments. You told me as we were walking over to this, from our pre-meeting to this meeting, from our prep meeting to this meeting, you still have like fragments in your leg. Jesus, I do have a fragment in my leg. He says, I do have a fragment in my leg. The surgeon, who I put down here as number 31, gave me his consultation.
What the hell does that mean?
Well,
this is 2 days after the shooting.
Well, his statement is 2 days after the shooting.
This statement.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's when he says that, right?
Well, basically what he's saying is the night he's in the center core, right? He breaches, or whatever. He runs out of the hallway.
Right.
He's in the center core. He waits there. Somebody releases him. He goes down to the basement of the 200 section of the building.
Right.
Somewhere along there, he's seen by SWAT medic. The next thing we know, he's at the hospital that is not listed here. And
Right.
he's a surgeon that night.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he says surgeon. I mean, it's not like doctor or something. I mean, that's he saw a surgeon, for God's sake.
A surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
with his injury, first of all, and he's by himself evidently because, maybe he drove there or something, or took an Uber or something. But he's being triaged. Think about that first. If wherever that hospital's at, mayhem's going on, mass shooting, big mass shooting, triage, he's going to be waiting there a while with a little pellet gun wound.
Yes, after all these people got shot, I mean, the guy should be,
right.
I hate to say it, but okay, he's in the hallway, supposedly. We take his word for hey, everything he says, we're taking verbatim because it's his words.
Right.
But he should be ashamed of himself, man. You got all these guys getting shot out there, families, people dying, hospitals, everybody's going crazy. And here this guy is telling us that he somehow went to the hospital and saw a surgeon for a little pellet wound.
And made it back in time for the 2:30.
Yes.
So, and hasn't mentioned once about the mass shooting.
Or Shuck, right.
Not once.
Mm-mm.
About hearing sirens everywhere.
Mm-mm.
About people running crazy, or he hasn't mentioned once about that.
No. And what's interesting here is the surgeon, he says, gave me his consultation.
Yeah.
To me, so I think what that means is gave him a slip of paper, right? Consultation. What it probably means is the surgeon consulted me. But if you don't speak good English, you may read it and go, oh, I'm supposed to say the surgeon or the doctor gave me consultation or consulted me when I was there, and he's using gave me consultation. But anyway, it's just not a word he would normally.
It's crazy.
So, but
right.
I'm going to tell you right now, I hope I never get that surgeon. I mean, I really want to know who that surgeon is. So if anybody out there knows the name of the surgeon, please let us know. Because if I'm ever in Vegas, I never want this surgeon. Because if that surgeon could not get a little fragment of a pellet gun bullet out of this guy's calf, I don't want him operating on me, man.
What the heck? It's crazy.
He still has fragment in
What's the next one? Yeah, what's the next one?
All right, so he says, and stated, the surgeon stated, if he did try to remove the fragment, he could cause more damage.
Okay.
That I don't want that surgeon operating on me whatsoever, man.
Yeah.
So that's, as well as I do, that is bad of a lie.
That's horrible. That's terrible, dude.
So if somebody knows, if there's a doctor out there who saw Jesus Campos at the hospital, we need to know your sworn statement.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So question, were any fragments removed or did they just leave it all? Jesus, negative. They're still there. They're still in my body.
Okay. Okay.
Multiple. Question. When you got shot and you're pinned down and you're hearing the continuous gunfire, what was your mindset? And he says, my mindset was contact for help, and that contact is what provided the correct information for Metro and SWAT. It's so bad. Question. Were you afraid that you were going to get killed? Answer. I was afraid. I was afraid of other people being afraid also.
Okay.
Whatever. Question, is there anything else that you can remember? Because I know you said you were off Thursday and Friday.
And this was Sunday, right? Was this Sunday or
This
Monday?
was Wednesday when he took this statement. This was Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. And he's off Thursday and Friday. See, I told you this. Oh, no. Okay, no.
No, you're right, though. His hours, I checked his hours.
His
hours, he was getting off at 11 o'clock.
Boom! I told you that.
Yeah.
I told you that. I knew it.
Yeah.
That's why he's taking his time.
Yeah, they actually have his hours on this sworn statement. I didn't put it on here, but they have his hours.
Oh,
so he's
man.
off Thursdays and Fridays.
Right.
And his hours are until like 11 o'clock.
Of course they are. I told you that. He's not in a hurry.
No.
He's upset. I told you he was. He's upset because he's on his last call and he's late.
He was on his last call. Did you have any other occasion to go to that room at all? He says, no, I was just doing my job. I was responding to a hot SOS room. So again, in that statement, he says, I'm assuming that's just one room. Okay.
And he still hasn't mentioned anything about a lady and 2 kids.
No. He says, and I was fortunate enough. Okay, so, he says this, and I was just fortunate enough to encounter that situation.
What the heck does that mean?
This guy needs medication or something.
So this is sad, okay, but with all this lying and stuff, it's crazy, dude. But anyway,
Okay.
he's leaving, okay,
Mm-hmm.
without checking to see if there's kids and a lady that's actually pinned down in there somewhere. Because go ahead, man. Go ahead. I just nuts right now.
So, question: do you know if there were any other calls, like on any other days for that room, or did you have to do any checks on the floor on Saturday when you were at work? Jesus' answer is negative. I'm not in that tower. I am not in the tower frequently enough. It just happened to be that day that I was working on those floors. Which is interesting.
Yeah.
And can be verified. Question: is there anything else you can think about the event that you feel is important that I need to know? Jesus: negative. To the best of my knowledge, this is the maximum amount of information that I have.
Okay.
That's it. That's the end of the statement.
I was waiting for Jesus to say, yeah, do I get a coffee like you bought me before the last interview?
Yeah.
God. What is wrong with this? I mean, come on, man. That's a horrible.
Yeah.
That's horrible timeline right there.
So, who do we pick next?
I don't even know who's got statements or who doesn't, man. I'd say I don't know. I mean, I have I'm not even completed here yet, but we have the dispatcher,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the nanny, right?
Yeah. So the nanny is just
the aunt
validated. There is a lady,
yeah.
not a nanny. She's the aunt. She was watching the baby. Yep.
Exactly. Where was she?
Yeah, actually, I saw the video of them clearing the entire 100 hallway of the 32nd floor.
Right.
And I listed all of the rooms where there were people.
Yeah.
That we know, at least we can verify via the video that somebody was in that room at that time, and they should have a sworn statement, right? And by the way,
I mean,
yeah.
Everybody up on that floor.
There's actually a guy that got arrested up there. The cops are sitting there, looking down the hallway. And a guy in a white T-shirt and blue shorts is running down the hall. The cops get him in the center core, handcuff him, and searches. He has a bag and searches his bag. Did you hear about that one?
No,
Yeah, I didn't either.
not at all.
That's coming.
Yes.
So let's do this. Let's not do Shuck. I mean, what we would normally do.
I don't think we're ready for Shuck.
Yeah, let's wait on Shuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be an interesting one. Dude's
Right.
done a lot of interviews. It's got a sworn statement. It's got a lot of detail. Never mentioned. So let's do him kind of at the later, right? I think who we should talk about right now is the dispatchers who actually were on the phone with Jesus.
Right.
So can we find, and does anybody out there know,
Right.
the dispatcher's name, the person's name who called Jesus and told him about the SOS?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was the individual that Jesus actually called from the wall phone about the bracket?
Right. Correct.
And you notice in Jesus' statement, there's nothing in there that says anything descriptive about the bracket.
Nothing.
Okay, so it's just a bracket.
It's just a bracket that you might be able to just lift off the door, for all we know.
There is no locking mechanism to those doors, by the way. I saw the doors. They have pictures of them. So,
yeah.
And who's the dispatcher who he talked to and said, shots fired, shots fired. So let's kind of, while people are helping us find out, I have the sworn statement for the individual who received the call via the cell phone while Jesus is in the hallway getting shot at.
Okay.
Let's do that next.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. And
I
then,
would almost have you looked at when did he do the Ellen show?
a couple days. Yeah.
After this one?
I
I mean, this is 2 days after. This is.
think it was at the end of the week. I'm not sure what day it was.
I mean, that's a lot of interviews.
Oh, it is a lot of interviews.
Within 1 week.
Sure. I don't know when he did. He canceled all the other ones. I think maybe he went to Mexico before the
I think we ought to look at. He went to Mexico for an interview.
No. So
Okay.
So they allowed the Mandalay Bay, from the information that I have, paid for his vehicle for a rental for him to go to Mexico. It was supposedly a pre-planned trip to go to Mexico to see his father who lives in Mexico. Okay. So here is the number one suspect, or number one victim, I guess, got shot, closest one to Paddock. They allow, the Mandalay Bay pays for a rental car for him to actually go and cross into Mexico. Nobody knows where he's at. He comes back, they cancel the Hannity show and all these other shows, and they fly him to the Ellen show.
Wow. And I just wonder how that interview on paper looks.
Yeah, it's ugly. I got it.
So we should go over that one since we've done these last two.
What I did, though, is as we're going through, as we go through the sworn statements, then I put the television interview in between our conversation.
Yeah, okay. You're right.
So
I saw
when we do
that.
Shuck, we're going to do that as well, right? I'll put them together as well.
That's good.
And,
let's do the dispatcher next. Let's do the dispatcher.
So if anybody out there, we'll do the dispatcher next, or the person that received the phone call from Jesus saying, shots fired.
Right. I've been hit.
Okay. And then if anybody else out there knows who the people are who called about the SOS, who talked to Jesus while he was on patrol through the hotel.
Right. And I want you to find out the the hospital and who took him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Does he ride a moped, a bike, a car? How did he get there? Who took him? And when did he get back? And what the surgeon's name is.
They're all on the omitted names list. So if somebody answers those questions, please let me know, and then I'll put it on the spreadsheets that we have so everybody in the world can see, and you get your name or your sign out there.
Right.
You confirm that the information is valid.
Yeah.
And so let's make this a group investigative effort.
Sounds
Appreciate
great,
everybody's time. Please go to the website. Please hit subscribe, like it, comment, and
That's right.
next time.
That's right. See ya.